we've been getting a lot of adverse conditions for the past few years, to be honest. Um, there's been various places in the U.S., worldwide as well, where you're getting like extreme flooding, wildfires, earthquakes, all sort of natural disasters occurring. We recently had Hurricane Ida, which is one of the most recent and one of the biggest uh, tropical storms that had hit Louisiana, and I believe some of it carried over to Philly as well as New York. Um, a lot of these places have been getting just crazy amounts of rain and flooding and flash flooding, a lot of flash flood warnings. Um, and I've been seeing it in a lot of other places around the world. I believe even Virginia got some, if I'm not mistaken. But seeing all these different areas where people are losing homes, people are losing livelihood, people are losing everything, businesses. Some of the people are losing family. There's been some death tolls that's happened with this. You There was a video that I did recently where I did an illustration of a person inside of a house. It was like a little square. The square represented the house, and on one side of the house, on by the front door, was all these problems coming up, and the person inside the house began to notice and hear and take note of all those problems at the front door. Then by the other door, the back door, there was a solution. And with all the problems coming up, as big as they were, as loud as they were, the solution started to look a bit more appealing as time grew on. And that's what I feel like we're dealing with this. We're getting all these issues popping up, and it's affecting livelihood, businesses, homes, homeowners, families, children. It's affecting the economy, or the the economy in some of those areas, and the markets in some of those areas. And I feel like a solution, an overall solution to try to answer this question is going to come up. One of the things that I think of is the Sustainable Development Goals that are outlined in the Agenda 2030 bill. Now, the goal that's probably would address this would be climate action, number 13. Now, what they would actually do, I'm not sure. I don't have any knowledge on what they would actually do to provoke action to combat climate, to combat certain disasters happening in certain areas. But stuff like this recurring constantly, especially in bigger areas and areas where there's a bigger market, that could hurt. That could hurt tremendously in so many ways. There's so much being done so quickly, so aggressively, so excessively in this country. Whether it's police brutality, whether it's wildfires, whether it's sea life showing up dead, whether it's just carbon emissions and pollution, and just the way toxins are affecting, livelihood and deforestation. There's so many things happening at a rapid rate that each one of those goals on that particular list will be nearly begged for. They're creating an environment where everything is so unstable and so uncertain. On top of all this, we still got this C-19 going on. Now we got variants out here. Now we got vaccines that you got to take once, and you got to take it twice, and you got to get a third booster. And even with all this stuff, there's still a chance you still get it. There's none of it's promised. So it's just constant things happening, and so much uncertainty out here. It's so much uncertainty. Now we got a workforce that's an unmotivated workforce. People have gone back to work. People have gone back to their respective fields, but they're noticing that the morale in the workforce and just the numbers in the workforce are just simply lower. People no longer really have that desire that they once had to work. People are starting to just really not care. Notice everything that's happening, yo. Elon is talking about a humanoid robot that he's planning on releasing in like a couple of years. And of course there'll be bugs and there'll be things like that. But all of this stuff is being done and released. There's so many different platforms and things like that that are gearing themselves towards robots and electronics doing the work, because they're realizing that people aren't really wanting to work anymore. And the being able to sustain a workforce in the conditions that we are in, where escapism is one of everybody's go-tos, they're realizing people are just losing that desire to sit up at a job 12, 14, 16 hours anymore, just to come home and kind of make ends meet, barely, just for a natural disaster to come in and sweep everything away. Just for a vaccine, just for a C-19 to come in and disturb and disrupt every market and take all of that away. Just for a solution to that C-19 to come in and maybe work. Just for a wildfire to come in and level a city. Just for a flood to come in and level a city. People are just losing that desire. With so much uncertainty, people are just losing that desire and that trust. People are realizing that a job isn't secure anymore. People used to say, "Oh no, I got this job because I gotta have a secure income. I need financial security." And people are starting to realize, like, I'm busting my butt out here. I'm busting my back out here, and it's still up in the air. There's no security for me, even with me being here 10 plus years. There's no security. Everything is just up in the air. Everything is so uncertain. It's so uncertain out here, yo. We just had a situation over in Afghanistan where, from what I'm looking at, 20 plus years of our soldiers being out there to working towards a solution, just for that all to be reversed right back to the way that it was before we were even out there 20 some years ago. And people are just like, why? There's so much uncertainty. Everything is just up in the air. Everything is just like, yeah, whatever. And so people are losing that desire, and people are losing that trust in that system now. You get people where it's people are losing it more and more. People are losing it. You have this climate action thing. The part that gets me isn't necessarily the solution. You know, the part that gets me is the cause. Because anybody can say, oh, you know, crime rate is up, so we're going to crack down on crime. We're going to crack down and bring it to low to no crime rate. That doesn't concern me. What concerns me is what caused the crime. Who caused the crime in the first place? Who's setting this up? And is someone trying to paint a narrative so when the solution comes into play, it's widely accepted because it's cried out for, just about. People are tired of having to uproot their livelihood and their homes and max out premiums on insurance and flood insurance and homeowners insurance and stuff like that. People are tired of having to have these maxed out premiums and crazy deductibles because of the frequency of these events. So the government coming in and figuring out a way to combat natural disasters, it's going to be something that's going to be accepted way easier. We got to at least put one ear out here and try to pay attention a little bit. Just a little. We ain't got to pay attention and catch every single thing, because we're just not. We're still living our lives. We're still present with our families, with our loved ones. So you won't catch everything, and it's not for you to. But we got to at least be able to pay attention a little bit out here and realize that there's a lot happening, and everything that's happening, they got a solution for it on this development goals list, and they're looking to accomplish it by 2030, and that ain't far. We keep dancing around like, dog, man, that's far from now, and that's not far. If you would have asked me, man, like, what do you think you're going to be doing in the year 2030? Years ago, I would be like, oh, man, I don't tell them what's going to be happening. I don't know what to expect in that far ahead. Now, it doesn't seem that far anymore. Few years and it'll be here. This year is gone. This year is nearly gone. We are well into September already, and it honestly, it feel like it's been a couple months this year. Honestly, it doesn't feel like this. This is the 9th month. We have 3 months left, and it's nuts to me, yo. Yeah, so the disasters occurring, the problems that's coming, the events and the unfortunate events that's happening is one side of it, but the most frightening side of it, in my opinion, is the solutions that they're going to come up with. That's what concerns you. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll catch you guys soon. Peace. Won't stop, never stop. Got so many ops, I be mistaken. I swear, can't stop, won't stop, never stop. Got so many ops, I be mistaken. I swear.